it's kind of like a bad idea to have anything hot right now.
Oh no, that is when you should drink something hot.
Well,
but humid is annoying.
Yeah. Anyway, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number 803. Nerdrotic must be stopped. : space the truth. I don't know what Nerdrotic did that. Did he actually do a physical activity, like hurt someone, or did he, I don't know, libel someone? Like, what's the physical or intrinsic bad that he did? I want to know that. So this is the truth.
Not aware.
Yeah, this is the truth. I don't know why he had to preface any or have anything say the truth. We assume when you speak to us, that's the truth, unless you're making a joke. So why would can you imagine
if this guy's genuinely going after Nerdrotic and all these other guys? I don't think it's a joke.
Yeah, I don't know anyone about this. What is this guy's name? Let me find out. Let me just scroll up here. It is Grayson, and then in quotes, or sorry, in parentheses,
Grayson, MinuteNerdNews.
What is MinuteNerdNews? Anyone know what that is?
I have never heard of that before.
Yeah, this is a 7 subscriber channel. I have no idea when this started. I haven't logged into the back end to see. This has 4 upvotes and 55 downvotes. It came out 4 days ago. Has less than 500 views. So I'm assuming.
Although the comments claim that's from a year ago, so my guess is that he had to make a new channel and this is a re-upload.
Okay. This is weird.
I assume that's the best I can come up with.
All right.
Otherwise, it's just what the hell.
Yeah. I don't know what Nerdrotic has done, but I do know he's a popular YouTuber that covers media, and he goes after politics where it doesn't belong, and that's pretty normal. You could do whatever you want on YouTube, and that seems to work for him. So
his first crime is he exists,
and he has a freedom of speech, and he makes videos. That's about all I can. I think he did.
He is mad about the ideology destroying his hobby.
Maybe I think he did. Like, was he a drug dealer? Was that someone else? Was that? I'm thinking of another.
He was in jail, but I don't know why. But
yeah,
he's pretty open about it all.
There's all this background stuff. It's like, yeah, we know his dirty laundry. It's not a big deal. No one cares. What's the big deal now? We don't know. So hopefully we'll get the truth, whatever that is. And it's a 20-minute video, so take your time, have a drink, go get one.
He's the great example of, in some cases, reform being possible.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
The grift is dying. Anti-woke
The grift is dying. Okay, first off,
anti-woke is not a grift.
What a grift? Do you guys know what a definition of grifting is? It's when you're lying for money. You're selling a piece of snake oil. You're doing a thing fictitiously or poorly to get money, so you're lying about the product or what have you. I want to know then, if you're calling someone a grifter, what are they lying about? And if he's saying the truth, that means you have to prove the lie with what you presume is the truth. So
you must assume this. If you scrunch your brain into the shape that whatever it is that the ideologues have in their skulls, then you can figure out how it makes sense to them that you must be lying by being against the ideology. Because from their point of view, the ideology is the absolute truth. And deep down, we all know it is the absolute truth. And it is right.
Well, here we go.
And so being against it is wrong. And we know that deep down. So we are lying when we criticize it in order to grift off of other people who then logically also lie about hating the ideology, because deep down everybody knows the ideology is the absolute truth, and therefore you can't actually be truly against it. We're just lying about being against it, and apparently that makes everyone money by pretending to be against the absolute truth.
Just look at these thumbnails. I mean, these are all opinions, and if that's what they believe, that's fine. You could argue that's just how they think or feel on something, but saying Hollywood is evil is, in certain contexts, that's pretty true. There are lots of bad people in Hollywood. They just got wrecked. That's referring to Disney. Disney gets wrecked all over the place every week for whatever reason. So that's not anything special. It's over for them. We've heard that. I've heard that so many times over the decade of either Disney or Marvel or DC or whatever. Yeah.
But for once, they're finally at the point where they may have to cut down on the amusement parks because even they don't work anymore.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
My amusement park just north of me called Canada's Wonderland got bought out by Six Flags, and they just almost finished building a new roller coaster. So it's, I guess we're doing okay in certain departments of the amusement park world.
Well, Disneyland is going to pieces. It's chaos.
It depends.
They have drunk people there. You have violent fights breaking out. You have gender ideology preached at the guests.
It depends.
It's innate. It's insane.
It depends on which one. Because my brother, as I say a lot, he goes to Japan. He went to the one this year, and it was fantastic. There was none of that crap you talked about. It was just standard Disney stuff with his kids.
Yeah,
everything.
Because I think if Disney tried to pull that in Japan, they'd have to shut down their thing immediately.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Japanese are a little different when it comes to what they want and how they get it. So, yeah, I don't think that would be an issue in Japan. But, yeah, we know the problems in North America and the European world, how, I wouldn't say Disney per se, but just that sort of mentality of the Hollywood elite pushing this narrative that we got to do things a certain way. And we've known it for a decade at least. So, anyway, let's get on with the video.
Has been a pretty significant and loud voice within media and pop culture spaces online, especially YouTube, for many years now. However, it seems the tides are slowly turning, and the days of
What is the chud? What is a chud by these definitions? What does it mean? I'm so out of the loop here.
The actual thing, I think, Cyrek or Mike Testa can give you.
Oh yeah, we'll ask him.
But in general, it is just a general nondescript insult for the people who are against the ideology.
Really? That's it?
Because it's everything from creepy stalker, monster, incel, fascist.
So when we get called a reactionary, it's the same thing as a chud, as...
Yes.
Oh my God. It's all the same. All synonymous. Yes. All right.
I think it's from some horror movie, because we're horror monsters for not wanting socialism that totally didn't destroy several countries and peoples and cultures before. I wonder why we don't want it.
All right, fair enough.
Grayson in an interview, or how the casting of a black person in a Disney movie will cause that movie to fail could be behind us.
Nice straw man. Goalpost movie. What? How many different fallacies was that?
Yeah, one? Guys, when someone releases a video on a new thing coming out, that's new, so it's worthy to talk about because it's new information. And then the movie comes out, and then you might talk about it then. But after that, it's gone. No one cares anymore. It was a bad film or an unpopular film. Didn't change anything, and that was that.
It changed. It changed a lot in Disney's bank account.
Well, yeah. Ultimately, that's what happens with movies. But it's just a movie. It's over.
That's what you get for culturally appropriating Grimm's fairy tales.
Oh, is that okay?
Well, Black Ariel, come on.
I know.
With that actress.
But using that term is kind of like, okay, this is kind of silly to use.
Yeah, but it's the thing they always go on about. Oh, cultural appropriation is bad, except when we do it and ravage your culture and destroy it. That's why you in East Germany you have basically no culture left, because that's what 40 years of socialism do to you.
I just find it odd that he thinks that this is behind us because why people?
Yeah, which means that now we can do it freely and even more.
Yeah, there's a limit to how much money Disney can burn over the years, and shareholders, as you might have noticed, don't like that. So,
are you implying you can't print endless money after all?
Unless you're the Fed, then no. You can't just bank everything off your your theme parks and hope for the best with movies. It doesn't work that way. No. Anyway.
Apocalypse is real. However, what are
How?
claims without evidence? So today I'll try to sum
Okay.
up some of the most significant examples of the growing disinterest in anti-woke content that we at the Initiative have pointed out within the past.
The growing disinterest in anti-woke. Okay, this is really simple. If they stop making crap, we'll stop talking about it. It's really simple. There's no...
Yeah, then we can talk about good things again, because there are good things.
Or-
Currently, there are barely no good things.
Or we can criticize films that are fine, and then there's this little nuance there, and that there's actual room for improvement, as opposed to saying this is broken from the start, or this was failed at the premise, or whatever we want to analyze it with.
Sometimes we'll talk about something that's so bad it's painful that we just have to talk about it to laugh.
Yeah, according to I don't even know who these guys are. I think the guy. Oh, we covered Bob. Is that Bob, the guy who said nothing when he was watching the EFAP video? And we just sat there for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh God, I remember him.
Yeah, we were like, "Is this a video? Are you gonna do anything? Are you gonna react to something?" And yeah, it was boring as hell.
Also, hi Dane.
I don't know who it
Dane?
is.
Actual fandom.
Oh, really?
Oh,
those
no.
inane
that's him.
tweets that he made. That was years
no.
ago when I read that, but I don't remember anymore.
And then in the top left is trans uniting radical feminist.
What?
Go away.
Why does he?
You might have.
What a creep.
I was gonna say you might also remember Dane from the guy that talked about Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, like Superman's roots or something like that.
Okay, fair enough.
That's another one.
Weird. I didn't know these guys did these things. Maybe they got nothing better to do. Who knows?
So this is the lower end moldy part of BreadTube.
These are the critics of critics of critics, or they no?
Are they? Okay, so we know two of these, and they already don't have much brain cells to rub together. Do you think there'll be 5 brain cells to rub together from this group, or do they all share one, like an orange cat?
I think it's funnier to believe that they just all share one. I'm fine with that.
All
It
right.
seems that seems how the movement works.
It's a covalent bond between all of them. There's just your covalent bonds between all these.
Yeah, it's not a hive mind. It's just one neuron.
Anyway.
Also, just FYI, I'm a bit sick right now. I don't know if you can hear, but if this video sounds weird,
You actually don't sound sick. You naturally sound that way, but that's just me. Okay.
that's it. That's the reason. Like, subscribe, check out my memberships, and let's delve right into it. And we're starting with a clip of Geeks and Gamers.
Well, I thought we're talking about Nerdrotic. Why is this about Geeks and Gamers? Okay, whatever. We're fine.
It's an opera.
Night Tights, where he gets into a bit of a... Now, we've been saying this for a long time. Anyone who's been in this YouTube space for a while, whether it's anyone from the Initiative or Sanderhall or Vox...
Jerry always gets into scuffles with people. Oh God, all these thumbnails. Why do you... Okay, sorry for interrupting here. I want to hear what he has to say about the pedo.
Whether it's anyone from the Initiative or Sanderhall or Vosh or anyone who has at any point made videos about Geeks and Gamers or any of the other anti-woke channels, has been saying that all these channels ever do is focus on the things they don't like, because of course dunking on the failure...
Wait. There's nothing wrong with criticizing things, whether you like them or dislike them. I could like something and dislike something at the same time and still be a critic and still have good points. What's your...
Yeah, and these things are just so bad, and we criticize them because we want those companies to instead make good things, not bad things.
The difference is whether you like or dislike something. That's not an issue. The issue is your argument for liking and for disliking. That's all. If this gentleman, whatever his name is, Morgan, what the hell was it? Let me just scroll back. Grayson. If Grayson has very good arguments as to why Nerdrotic must be stopped, great. I don't care if you like him or dislike him. Just give me a good reason why you have this opinion. That's it. Do as much as you like. It makes no difference.
Marvel and feminists and woke culture is what gets them views. The outrage is what fuels their audience and their channels, and listen, it's perfect.
No. It's that your ideology is shit and destroys everything, and that it does so deliberately, and we don't want that to go on, because you have nothing to add to society, culture. In fact, you are just trying to destroy it. You have nothing to add to humanity. In fact, you destroy it, which is proven by history. Please stop. Please do something productive. Go get a job at a supermarket and stack the shelves.
Things you don't like on YouTube. Most media, so it's fun to critique things we don't like and explain why, but this is excessive.
Wait. No. You just said it's okay. You went through this paragraph saying, hey, if you don't like something, talk about it on YouTube. That's great. But because they do it too much, that's somehow bad. Why?
May I remind of the 4 years of absolute Trump derangement syndrome, where the entire media could not stop talking about Trump every day, to the point where I had politically neutral friends who wanted Trump out of office solely for the media to stop talking about Trump all the time.
Well, this is no different than starting up a YouTube channel about, cars, and just talking about cars every day. And a guy critiquing your car channel, saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with liking cars and having a car YouTube channel, but this is excessive. Look at all the car videos. Like, that's the point of the channel? What? Why? What's the problem?
The reason why there's so much critique about woke crap, for one, because it is crap. Why there is so much critique of woke crap is that it is everywhere. Because your stupid ideology, your socialist garbage that destroys minds and souls and lives, wants to be everywhere, wants to replace everything with itself. And that is why there is also so much critique about it in absolutely every hobby, every topic, every institution. Because you are shit. You are the shittiest ideology on the planet. In history. Because of you, Nazis have existed. But we're against the Nazis. You created them. Without you, they wouldn't have been possible, and they wouldn't have felt themselves necessary either. One of their mistakes was that they became like you. They took your handbook, your manual that you wrote, that your ideology came up with, and they just said, well, we can't fight them any other way. Let's do something easy and just take their book and turn it against them.
Well,
that's all they did.
The main argument he's making is it's not that it's bad to critique or talk about things you dislike. It's that you shouldn't do it too much or so much. Which is, I don't follow this logic. Like, if you're really good at something or really efficient at pumping out content, and he's saying it doesn't matter what the content is, that sounds like a recipe for people liking you or that content because they get a lot of it at a faster rate. And he's saying that's bad. And I'm like, I don't understand that. Does it psychologically damage you? Like, are you a workaholic? Like, what's the problem here?
He doesn't like the thing he likes, which is his ideology, to be criticized, because then his whole reason for existing breaks apart, and he doesn't know what he is anymore or what to do.
Yeah.
And his life becomes pointless. He could also not come around to criticizing it himself, because that would mean he would have to realize it's false and that he lived a lie. And on the amount of critique, I remember when I worked as a game master for an MMORPG, I did the night shifts and did the tickets that piled up during the day. So they were all late tickets. And it's because the bosses were one time they complained, hey, all your tickets are always so late. And I said, have you looked at the ticket count and when I actually work? And then it was, oh, okay, continue. But the thing was, the French had 1 to 3 tickets a month. The English had 1 to 3 tickets a day. The Germans had over 300 tickets a day. And I was doing 200 to 300 a night. That was the what was left. Depending on the load and how quick you could do what. But we were always behind. And What I thought then was, well, Germans are accused of always complaining about everything. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, that's actually a good thing. Because these 300 tickets we get, most of them bug reports, some of them also containing workarounds or suggestions for bug fixes from really talented people, could all go to the devs and they would know what is important and what can be done. So I concluded, critique is the engine of improvement. And socialism, the woke ideology, hates critique. And that is why it always leads to ruin, not improvement.
All right, let's continue.
Excessive for years and years now. Actually, someone like Ryan Cannell makes multiple videos on any tiny little thing he can pretend to be mad about. He forces outrage to complain about properties that he often doesn't even care about.
How do you know he's forcing his, like, what if he's just reporting the facts and then getting angry after he's reading the facts? Like, what is wrong? Like, he's arguing his emotions are fabricated. It's like, how do you, like, what is the point here?
I have an idea, though it's purely theoretical. Could it be because the woke, the socialists, always project that he is actually projecting that the anti-woke are grifting because he is grifting about his woke ideology, and he's frustrated that his grift doesn't work because he doesn't realize that socialists don't actually have money. At least the useful idiots don't have any. The only people who give them money are the rich socialists who pull all the strings. And as we know, people like Tabernacle and Renegade Cut and Jason Unruhe, they all got money from higher ups, for example, the CCP.
All right, here is Nick Gurr for the tip. Thank you, sir. I bet you he's going to accuse Nerdrotic of posting lazy content. Most people who criticize him do, but typically their content is just as lazy, if not more. Oh, God, from what we saw from that, what was it? Not Dane, what was his name? Bob? Good Lord, he just sat there. And they're typically lefties who simp for corporate slop disguised as media. Okay, yeah, this seems like in defense of Disney or in defense of these big companies. And I don't care if you want to defend the thing you like, that's fine. Just give me a good reason why. You don't just defend Microsoft because you like it. You have to defend it because there's a good reason for that. Big companies generally, or big anything, generally has problems, whether it's corruption or excess or whatever. So it's a very easy target because it's so big and there's all these issues. So if you want to defend Microsoft, there's arguments for that, or big companies that you could use, but you have to be logical and rational and evidence-based, not they're making too many videos. They're too angry. It's like that's probably because there's lots to be angry about, and he has to mitigate his emotions as not to burn himself out. So there's lots of excuses, reasons to dislike something and how to express that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's continue.
These guys talk about The Little Mermaid or how much they loved Snow White until these newer supposedly woke remakes came out.
Supposedly.
So, wait a second. I remember something. I remember watching Little Mermaid back in grade school. It was fantastic. I loved it. And that was that. That was a part of my memories. To then make another movie decades later, of course you're like, what the hell? What did I watch decades ago? You're going to bring that
is a
up.
complete insult to the source material in every way, just as they did with Shogun. An insult to the source material in every way.
There's nothing wrong with
as with Halo,
going back
as with Wheel of Time, as with pretty much everything they touch.
Well, there's nothing wrong with going back to your memories, going, wow, it was so good when I first watched it as a kid. Now I'm watching this version. I'm like, it is not the same. The level of artistry is not there. The music's not there. Obviously, something is lost in adaptation. That's normal. You can make that argument. But that's totally natural to have a knee-jerk reaction to, whoa, what is this thing that I know what it should be, but it's not. That's very common. There's a certain term for that. I don't know if it's called imposter's syndrome or something like that. There's a term for that, but it's... anyway, this is normal. This is human You have a memory. It's being changed in the present. You're like, why? Why is it bad? And then you criticize it. So, nothing wrong with that.
Massive fans, and they can't believe that Disney would ruin their childhoods. And so they also force themselves to watch these things that they've spent months proving that they already hate and don't want to watch, but yet they still do and get angry about it.
Okay. If I think something's going to be bad, I hope I'm wrong, because I want to have a good time. No one wants to go into a film or whatever media go, oh, I can't wait to hate this thing. No, of course not. I wanted the next Mass Effect. I wanted the next BioWare game to be great. I always want the best for anyone who could put together a project of that size and scope. Of course I do. But the signs were there. The media presentations, the advertising, the interviews, as we're seeing now with the Dragon Age game from BioWare. It's just, everything about it is feeling watered down, silly, not the same. And you just can't explain where these 10 years went unless they took the game with them when all the people with the high talent left. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next year or so when we have these new AAA titles coming out that are supposedly amazing, and they have 140 words or 140 sentences more. It was just this crazy number for storytelling. I was like, okay, so someone did a lot of writing, but is that quality writing? Is it just crap? Is it just filler? Is it NPC garbage? I want to know. So I hope that the new Dragon Age game is going to be good. There's just too many signs from marketing and too many mishaps from the interviews that at least prove to me it's going to be a mess.
Talk about things they actually like. Comics that they think are awesome, and in the rare chance that they do, it's often as a means to take a dump on something they don't like.
Who cares? Do we have to bring up our favorite film? Do I have to bring up The Princess Bride every time? I shouldn't have to, or my favorite game or this or that, because we know how the sausage is made. We grew up on sausages. We know the different flavors, the Polish style. We know the seasonings. And when someone makes the new sausage and we go, well, I know how to make that. Let's see how they did it. And we go, oh, that's not right. Or that's a little innovative. Does that taste good? And it doesn't. We fall back on what we know. It's really that simple. So if you're going to critique something and it's the new popular thing, go for it. Everyone has the freedom of expression. Everyone likes the new Disney film of their childhood to get reinvented. I liked, for whatever reason, the live action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. I thought the music was on. I thought the actors were good. The dance, I like those spectacles. I like that kind of big, happy musical thing. I would have liked to have seen it.
That one wasn't as offensive.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff with the Gaston friend or whatever. It was like, that's weird. But it never took away from the overall experience. And I thought everything else was very well done. The cinematics, the CGI, the outfits, everything was beautiful. So I had no problem with that, really. And sometimes Disney does a good job, but in most cases it doesn't, sadly. And you can criticize that. That's fine.
Yeah, and also the point earlier is that until when these remakes came out, it's like they suddenly became massive fans. I'm just like, who didn't grow up with Disney?
Yeah.
In this country.
Yeah, I grew up with my aunt, and she had the entire collection from the 90s, and every time she would do babysitting, she'd just pull out one of those videos, and we'd watch it with everyone else. It was great. So
yeah, that
was Disney, and now it's something else.
Unfortunately.
For this anti-woke space has done nothing but constantly fuel outrage clicks, giving their audiences something to be mad about, whether it's anything...
No, they're already mad. And they get their opinion reinforced by the arguments presented in those videos, or the evidence presented. So,
yeah, that viewpoint already exists.
Yeah, I don't need to go to my friends who are also fans of video games and say, "Wow, that video game was garbage." They'll have different reasons why it's garbage, or different viewpoints of the same thing we're looking at as to what makes it bad, and that gives me better insight into what makes it good or bad. So we want it to be good, and sometimes very rarely we'll get like a bad thing and someone will convince us it's actually good. It's very rare that happens, because we need like a certain perspective, or the theme wasn't being expressed well because of another issue. And that's what you argue about in creative writing circles or in media critics circles. So that's fine. So I don't care if it's a celebration of the thing or if it's a takedown of the thing. It makes no difference. If that's what the thing is to you and people share your opinion, great.
But he's revealing something to us. Because by assuming everything is projection, which it tends to be with these people, his belief is that the audience does not have an opinion unless whoever the audience watches tells them what to think and feel. Because that's how the socialists, the BreadTubers, believe they influence people and that they sway people to their socialism. That's their everything is socialization, nothing is everything is nurture, nothing is nature theory works.
Yep. I think that a lot of people, even coming to my videos, they already have their mind made up and they will attack me or not like my ideas. Like even on that compilation of EFAP clips we did years ago, I had no opinion. I just clipped them all together and summarized them before they played. And I had people coming, well, you're a horrible person. You have no idea what you're talking about. You are out of touch. And I'm like, I didn't say anything. I just put the clips together. And they're accusing me of all this stuff. So people, for the most part, already have their mind made up unless they're watching a documentary or they're watching some sort of scientific explanation for things, or maybe they're going to a tour guide video and they're, oh, I've never seen Naples. What does that look like? So yeah, no, it's pretty much people have already have that opinion. They're looking for like-minded people to express themselves because they're so fed up. And they go, oh my God, this thing's garbage. Who else thinks this? Oh, YouTube. There we go. Done.
So it's to put this into meme terms, the left, which are all NPCs, project their NPC-ness onto their opponents, onto everyone else, and therefore believe everybody functions like them without admitting that's how they function.
Maybe. I don't know how these people operate, honestly.
Very simplistic.
I get that, but what they're thinking and why can't they understand differing opinions?
Oh, no. You make that's the first mistake. You assume that they think.
Really? Okay.
Thinking requires doubt.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Fabricated instead of trying to talk about the things that they do like for a change. But I guess
Why?
focusing on more positive things doesn't get them nearly the same amount of views. And we've been saying this for a long time now, and recently on our streams, DJ from Eric Debunks has begun pointing out that Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers had begun to seem—
Wait. Your ideology has been ranting on the internet, on social media for the last 10 to 15 years about everything being racist, everything being sexist, and you had to point it all out, and everything being homophobic, and everything being this otherphobic, and this other ism and istic, and going on about cultural appropriation. When Ghost of Tsushima came out, which the Japanese loved, which was a love letter to Japanese culture and history, you complained that it was cultural appropriation because Westerners made it. Now, Westerners made this Ubisoft made this horrible Assassin's Creed thing with Yasuke, which is completely anti-historical nonsense. Japan is pissed, and you say, they just have to accept it, they're bigots. Well, you cheer for cultural appropriation, because when it's your propaganda that's doing the cultural appropriation, we have to accept it. So it's not actually cultural appropriation that you have a problem with. It's people celebrating real cultures and rejecting your garbage ideology. That's your position.
Isn't any surprise they Ubisoft subtitled the game about Yasuke Shadows?
I don't get the joke.
I never heard of that, but okay.
Because Black Man.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, jeez.
What? I thought because Ninja.
I don't.
What I want you to think.
They could have just called it Japan.
Oh, you mean it's a classic socialist doublespeak?
Oh.
Yep. Yes, straight up. Yep. Yep.
We're 3 minutes in. This is not going very fast.
No.
He's been removing himself from the anti-woke space more and more, and honestly, it seems
No, he's tired of this shit because everyone's tired of this shit because that's how you get your way. You tire. That's Antonio Gramsci described this, that this is the goal, to tire everyone out with the propaganda until we give up, roll over, and take it up the ass. That's the goal, because your ideology operates like little children that just want to get their way, and if they don't get their way, if they don't get another dessert, another cookie, another whatever, then you throw a tantrum. And if you don't throw a tantrum, you lie. And if you don't throw a tantrum or lie, you just keep on bickering. But I want one, but I want one, but I want one. Do as I say, do as I say, do as I say. And you never shut up unless you get whacked into a wall, as Atreus should have been in God of War Ragnarok.
Yep.
Oh no, that was the first Norse God of War, where he should have been whacked into a wall after killing a guy who was already defenseless, and his father told him not to kill him, and he did it anyway.
Someone who was defenseless, let alone the son of one of the gods of that area, of that region.
Who, by the way, should have survived Ragnarok.
And said action would have single-handedly restarted the entire cycle of Kratos against the gods, but it either it didn't, or it took so long that it's just we ended up with Ragnarok.
out, and in this clip from been saying for years. So if you don't believe us and think we're wrong, then here, listen to Jeremy say it.
Yeah, One Piece is objectively better.
What's more successful? What's more successful?
Well, One Piece would have been more successful. Like
maybe not. You don't know that.
No, I know
that.
I absolutely
know.
No,
you don't.
Jeremy,
you literally said it took you 4 episodes to get.
A bit of a sound warning because I did see the original of this.
If something's good, it's good. People will watch it anyway, especially if it's weekly.
That's right. My point being is what's dominating? Netflix. All the weekly models, nobody gives a shit about anything coming out.
The point is that we talked about One Piece for 1, maybe 2 weeks.
Yep.
Whereas
Bro, Five Nights at Freddy's is dominating at the fucking box office, and we're talking about Loki.
We talked
Five
about
Nights
it.
at Freddy's is making more money than any film in recent memory. We're talking about Loki.
We talked about Five Nights at Freddy's. We talked about Five Nights at Freddy's this week.
Shitty Marvel and shitty Star Wars.
When it was relevant.
We would talk about shitty Marvel, shitty Star Wars if it was weekly or if it was binge. We would talk about it. That's what we do.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I would rather talk about Five Nights at Freddy's right now. I've seen Five Nights at Freddy's twice.
It's got nothing to do with the actual fucking argument, which is the only reason you brought it up.
No,
yeah, absolutely.
So the argument is we'd still be talking about One Piece because
we should still be talking about One Piece right now. What's stopping us?
It's not in the zeitgeist anymore because they released it all at once.
What's stopping us? I'll talk about One Piece right now. Let's talk about it. Fuck this Loki bullshit. I haven't watched it. I don't give a fuck about Marvel. Let's talk about One Piece and Five Nights at Freddy's right now.
No.
Oh, okay then. Well then, don't sit there and tell me that people aren't talking about it. You don't want to talk about it.
Jeremy, I have a 30-minute fucking video on One Piece. You can go watch that.
Okay,
I sat down and edited a 30 fucking minute video.
That's my point.
We spent a month on it. What's your favorite
part? We could be talking about One Piece right now. No one's stopping us.
No. The weekly model is stopping. We are driven by the zeitgeist of entertainment, Jeremy.
You are. I'm.
Could I just throw my hat in the ring here for that Five Nights at Freddy's comment? Yeah, it made money, but wasn't a good movie all that much. Gonna be real with you.
So
it was fine.
Was Jeremy just saying he wanted to talk about it and no one else was, and that was it?
I guess.
Okay, that's fair. Fine.
Yeah. It's like I wouldn't even say fine. It's just like fucking boring because it's just. You have a movie called Five Nights at Freddy's. All the guy does is sleep through the nights. It's not fun. Oh, he gets dreams of the ghost children. Hey, it'd be spookier if we saw the animatronics.
To be fair, there wasn't much to the original games in the first place. I will grant that point.
But the guy didn't sleep through the nights. That's in the game. It's how would you feel if you go and play the original Five Nights at Freddy's? But it's just there's a melatonin option. You take the melatonin, you beat the night. That doesn't seem very fun.
Fair.
Kills the whole point of the thing. And there was the whole big problem where it was literally just, it has this whole thing where you have fucking dropped plot lines that are stapled together to make the fucking plot there.
Well, I'm a bit confused here because all that Grayson is saying is that Nerdrotic wants to talk about another show because he's tired of other shows, and that's fine.
Well, yeah, the example here is Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers said he wants to talk about want to talk about the good stuff for a change, but I'm just like to Wisp's point earlier, it's like, no, we can't stop pointing out the shit.
Yeah, but that's fine. Like, everyone has their own level of tolerance for, I don't know, a week goes by, and there's like 5 different things. There's 5 different shows or games, and you only have time for X, Y. And Jeremy's like, I don't give a shit about that. I like X. It's like, good for you, Jeremy. That's fine. That's not an argument against the other things.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
These are 9 people on one podcast trying to talk about something. That's either going to be very chaotic. You will have it won't run organic every time. There will things rub once in a while, and if you always have to talk about the same ass shit, okay, yeah. Eventually somebody will get annoyed by it, and Jeremy is a rather shorter-tempered, emotional guy, so he will do that earlier. I would assume Az might be that as well. However, when you have 9 people on, you need to set the topic a little bit.
Yeah, I would argue that the format of this show, I don't know who's hosting it, but even with Salty Nerd Podcast, like they are prepared to talk about XYZ. You have to do your homework, and everyone gets their own 1 minute talking to say whatever the question was. So this is obviously a different format, or maybe just Jeremy just got tired. It's fine. This does not prove or disprove that some people get tired of negative things within the context of a podcast. Like this, I'm sure he's going to go back and maybe watch the things that people asked him to do if he's interested. If he's not interested, good for him. That does not change the fact that certain shows were shit and a lot of people talked about how bad they were. That's like, this has nothing to do with that. He just doesn't like it.
It's the fact that this part of the conversation was so chaotic that's what this guy took advantage of. So because what we're hearing clearly is exactly what he wants the viewer to hear in terms of the arguments.
This is like someone was like sitting in on a writer's craft workshop, and all of a sudden one guy got pissed off at the use of the semicolon or whatever. And the guy's like, oh, see, these people don't know grammar. There's an argument about this element of writing. And you're like, no, that's pretty common. People talk about diction and punctuation all the time and how it should be used properly. So it's not like this is some revolution in English grammar. No, people talk about the technicalities all the time. So this is not proving anything about Nerdrotic changing his attitude because everyone else wants to talk about something else. That's just...
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like at worst they had a disagreement about what each one to talk about. That's all that happened here.
It's a timing. Whoop-de-doo.
I'm not.
Here, Jeremy.
We can talk about it right now. What's stopping us from talking about One Piece? What's stopping us?
Gary.
What is there to talk? The thing is, what is there to talk about with One Piece?
That's the same thing I can ask about Loki. What is there to talk about? It's dog shit. It's Marvel.
It came out.
Yes, a new episode just came out, and
nobody cares about it.
Now, the others do try to counter some of his arguments by talking about the zeitgeist and how One Piece isn't being spoken about much anymore, whereas Loki is fresh, at least at the time of this video, but that doesn't explain why they weren't talking about Five Nights at Freddy's or Killers of the Flower Moon, which were relevant at...
Wait, you're
Killers of the what?
He's arguing they didn't talk about other things that were also popular to his opinions. Like, this is a show about free-for-all, as far as I could tell, and they talk about whatever they like. And Jeremy's like, why don't we talk about X? It's like, I don't know. Why don't we?
Like Friday Night Tights. Yeah, Friday Night Tights does have they do have like the general points they go over, but it's like, yeah, sometimes it does go off the rails, not as badly, not as wildly as this, but it does go off into tangents. But I'm just like, this doesn't help your argument, dude.
And we tend to talk more about the bad things out there because that tells us how good things would be made. Because we can spot errors much more easily than things that are as they should be, because when things are as they should be, they're not noticeable.
It's also the nature...
Unless they are so damn good, it stands out so much, and then we're gushing about it for 5 minutes, and then that's that.
Yeah, it's also the nature of communication. If you're not going to criticize something or there's nothing worth saying, then don't say anything. It's just like, oh, I liked it. Why? It was good, blah, blah, blah. Here's the reasons why. But in most cases, you're there to say, there's a problem with this. There's a problem with this squeaky door. There's a problem with my toilet. You have to tell someone and talk about it. Oh, there's an issue. I got this big problem. If everyone's just going to gush about what they like, that means media is good, but it's not, and therefore we have to argue about it. That's normal.
Yeah. For example, with Mike and some other people from the server, we watch some very good things, and we watch absolute horrible shit that none of us could ever bear to watch alone, because it is just too bad and too painful. Things like the Shogun remake or Hunters, nobody sane can watch that alone. And we pause almost every second. Hunters, I think, was almost every 2 seconds. Shogun remake was almost every 2 seconds. Because everything was wrong in that crap. And then we watch good stuff, like the original Shogun show, which mainly we pause for contrast of how well things were done, how good the dialogue is, how there are little subtleties in the acting that convey the story, that don't need to be spelled out. Or when we watch Dark City or The 13th Floor, we just watched through the movie with nobody saying anything because everybody was just so drawn in, and it was just so perfect that there was little reason to pause and say anything, to interrupt the immersion. The thing is, bad stuff always destroys suspension of disbelief. It destroys the immersion, and that's why we talk about it, because why did this movie just give me pain?
Yeah.
It's not a horror movie, because a horror movie that gives you... is supposed to give you pain in a very specific way. But bad movies, bad series, bad video games, they give you pain in the wrong way.
Yeah, it's kind of the functional approach to media. We want to be transported to another world. We want to forget our problems. And if we don't get that, we're still conflicted, and we have to express that, saying, wow, that thing sucked. I didn't get anything out of that. This is what you do with your friends when you go out for a beer and you bitch about, your wife or your life or your boss or whatever, because you got to feel good. And that's how you do it. You get it off your chest. You get on with your day. And if media doesn't do that for you, then you got to talk about it with your friends. And Jeremy doesn't want to do that. That's fine. You want to talk about something he likes? Good for him. That's it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that doesn't change.
Well, the worst that happened here is that there was a disagreement. That's really it.
About what to talk about. That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that he dislikes the things they like or vice versa. This is so silly.
Dream. And also the whole topical news thing is also kind of bullshit because they often create their own topical news. Brie Larson saying something in an interview wouldn't be a big deal if these guys weren't there to make a big deal out of it. They often
No, Brie Larson made herself the joke of the internet by being an absolute narcissist.
She did it. She did that all on her own. The rest of these guys did was just point it out.
This is like saying someone said a thing. He's too stupid to understand what that means. Therefore, he thinks these guys made a news issue by explaining what she said as a dumb thing, and he doesn't understand that. That's how this came across to me. He's so dumb. He didn't comprehend this faux pas or some problem someone did or said. And you're like, oh, they're smarter than me. This is dumb. They're reading too much into it. It's like, what is the detail of this thing? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and ultimately it's like, so what's the big deal?
Yeah, this is no different than me playing Mass Effect and going, this thing sucks because of XYZ, whereas the fanboy's like, no, this is awesome. This is great. How can you say it's bad? It's like, I'm pointing it out to you, explaining to you, et cetera, style, substance, quality, value, sound. Like, look, no, it's good. Like, okay, that's your opinion, dude. This is very dumb. This is very childish stuff, what he just said right now. It's... If he gave me a literal example, then we can criticize exactly what he's talking about. Right now, he's just like, well, why? They're making a mountain out of a molehill. It's like, what is the molehill? What is the problem? Show me. Because when Brie Larson or any of these women say things, it's usually not very intelligent.
Simply respond to it. And it's really refreshing to see Jeremy calling out how they always focus on the bad media rather than the stuff that is actually good, that they actually like.
Oh, so you admit it's bad media? Is that you admitting it's bad media, or are you just saying this for consistency of what the others say? Because that's usually not what you do.
It could be that he just really likes One Piece, and he was like really wanting to talk about it. He's like, why are we talking about everything else? It's not about One Piece. Like he could have came across very differently and said exactly the same point. So that doesn't change the fact that the bad media is still bad media. He just doesn't want to talk about it. Whoop-de-doo.
An example of what they want Hollywood to be when they criticize it all the time for not being what they want it to be. And you'd assume that most fans would spend time talking about what they actually like. Watching this is...
It's the same thing as talking about what you don't like, buddy. It's exactly the same. You're just using a different perspective. It's the end result is I want something good.
And it's pretty... When Bayonetta 3 came out, we talked for 5 hours about what we liked about the original 1 and 2, and what we don't like about 3, because it is the antithesis.
Yeah, it's really easy to use a sequel to explain why it doesn't work. Because
just as the Norse God of War is everything wrong with God of War, when the Greek God of War games are everything right with God of War.
Yeah, it's like the Batman games, the Spider-Man games. There's so many games that you could compare it to and go, well, the swinging was better here, the music was better here, the voice acting was better there, whatever. It's
everything. These games tend to be not just bad in the writing, that's just the thing that stands out the most, but their gameplay is mediocre to worse.
Yeah, and the fans who know better can say, oh, wait a second, I have a memory, I have a functioning brain. I can remember when things were really good in the 90s when JRPGs came out with all these wonderful ideas, and now we have we have amalgamations of those ideas now that nothing really original, and the storyline's nothing special, and the combat's nothing new. And
there's a thing about the why they talk so much about accessibility. And no, we don't want to make games easier. We want to make them more accessible, which is by making them easier to the point of making them trivial, to the point that they're not games anymore, but toys. And if you think for a second about it, it becomes clear why they want to do that. It's accessibility not for their own stupidity, because they're not interested in playing games. It's not out of pity for the disabled, whether physically or mentally, because we have proof against that being even necessary, because those with physical disabilities or the like still enjoy the games as they are, or even beat them. And what it really is about, when I say more accessibility for the product that they shoved all their propaganda into, is that they want the widest possible audience to play or watch their thing so that they are all exposed to their propaganda. And they make it so easy so that you get through the whole story that they wrote, so that you can see the conclusion and the ending, which preaches to you even more than the whole game did before. That's why they want accessibility.
It validates the arguments we've been making for a long time. It's not often we see someone within this sphere actually admit to the grift, but it has...
What are you talking about? What are they lying about? A grift is some business function, activity, a business model, where you're lying about the product to make money. That could be marketing, that could be anything. Where was money involved in any of this? Is it AdSense? Is it views? That's not a grift. That's your time. You can do whatever you want with your time. Does the thumbnail attract you?
Well, there's a outside the monetary argument. You can argue that there are people who fake their opinions simply for attention, to feed their ego. That is a thing, but that is not the case here. And speaking of which, Tyler Preston in the chat informs us that he just looked up this video, and it's this Grayson guy who bought bots for his Twitter thread. So while that may not be a grift in the sense of making money, it is an agitator and propagandist, because he is creating false interactions to boost his message. If that is true, that is.
It's been happening more and more, and this is where we get to the best parts of this discussion. Because Jeremy takes it one step further and exposes the grift entirely. How they take one tiny little piece of news or thing that Brie Larson says and milks the ever-living shit out of it. And this is relevant to all of them, but he singles out Ryan Cannell, who is still posting multiple videos a day about whatever drama he can. Naturally, Geeks and Gamers used to be just
you can blame the algorithm,
and looking
for
at
that.
his amount of Brie Larson videos confirms this, but let's hear what he has to say.
You're making the argument right now, which is why I brought this up now.
I said
And
no
what
one
I'm
is
telling
stopping
you-
us from talking about One Piece. No one. We can talk about it every week.
But then you ask, why aren't we talking about it now? You ask that question. I'm trying to fucking answer that question.
Yes.
And the
Why
answer is,
aren't we?
what is there to talk about with One Piece in
A
the
lot
stream?
more than there is to talk about with Loki.
You wouldn't, first of all, you wouldn't know.
You haven't
didn't watch
watched
Loki.
This is the point where Jeremy
I
should
watched
give an
Loki.
example.
Why don't you guys who did watch it tell me what there's to talk about now, 5 weeks after the fact, we've got no new material out when we're doing a fucking topical news show? Like,
I've
what are
been
you
making Last
talking about?
Jedi videos for 4 years.
Now, I would have
When's
loved...
the last Jedi video you made? Jeremy?
Yesterday. Yesterday. Literally yesterday.
can
Ryan.
go
I
to
just
what's
created a...
Good for you, Jeremy. So what? Like, do whatever you want. Who cares? This is a free-for-all, isn't it? You just talk about whatever you like. And he's like, why are we talking about X? It's like, I don't know. Do you want to talk about X? Start it off, buddy.
Yeah. So, as I said, the problem from this cut here that we see is that Jeremy says he wants to talk about One Piece, is technically given the opportunity at least twice, and doesn't bring up any example points.
He's complaining that no one else is.
He didn't catch that he got the ball played to him, and then didn't play it.
It's like maybe he's waiting for everyone to say, please, Jeremy, begin the conversation. We have your attention. It's like, he wants that sort of acknowledgement, I guess.
Yeah. And I think he's just not aware of that.
Something
I just created a One Piece discussion right now. I just created one for the past 5 minutes.
No, you created a discussion about whether we talk about One Piece or
Did we
not.
just talk about One Piece for 5 minutes? Yes or no?
We didn't.
Yes
One
or
Piece
no?
was used, but we didn't talk about it.
No.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it. Don't act like that's not what we
I
do.
don't build a narrative. I
You
give
are an
my
absolute
opinion.
fucking.
You are hard.
What we do. You've made the same fucking video on the same topic at least 7 times a week, Ryan. And you're gonna act like we don't do that.
I talk about I talk about
says one fucking thing and we make a whole video out of it. That's what we do.
I talk about things that are in the news, and when something comes out that's an update to that, I talk about it, Jeremy. And guess what? If fucking there were more episodes of One Piece coming out and I cared about something like that or something that was topical to that, I would be talking about that.
This clip reveals something that we of course already knew, or at least were pretty sure of, but it revealed how this whole operation functions.
It's not an
They
operation.
find one little piece of news, it could be as simple as something an actor has said in an interview, and they form a narrative out of it. Or at least they...
This can be exactly the same thing I have seen from fanboys on YouTube, good lord, about Dragon Age. There's so many weird fanboys out there. They'll take one little interview and they'll make a week's of content about this comment from some producer or some video and some little thing. Same with Twitter, same with Tumblr. They have like all this fan art about this one little thing. We know nothing about the game pretty much, aside from the characters. And all we've got is the classes of these characters. And we've already got hundreds of fanfics, /fics, God knows what else. Fans do that all the time. They make entire narratives about things they're interested in. What's the problem with doing that in the opposite direction with critiquing something, saying why this is bad. This is normal.
Yeah. And in this instance, usually we're very keen on people articulating themselves properly. With Jeremy, I think it is a common understanding that while he is a very passionate and honest guy, he is not the brightest bulb in the shop.
Yeah, but that's
he
fine.
doesn't necessarily choose the best words.
Yeah,
but
that's
he
fine.
means he doesn't. He has no ill intentions.
Yeah, there's no. Again, I respect the layman's opinion in general when it comes to critique because we get an honest response, and he's saying this is what we do. We take a little idea and we make a big deal about it. It's like that's news.
Yeah, but it's not crafting a narrative out of it. That there he misspoke. He didn't know what better words to use. Because what we tend to do on this side of the fence when we critique the socialist and narcissistic garbage is that we look what's there and we look what it actually means and how that fits into the greater context. Not spinning a story out of it as the left does, as the woke do, as they craft magical things out of whatever anyone says and cherry pick all around and basically even twist things upside down by interpreting that you actually meant the opposite of what you said because everything is a dog whistle to them, which if we go by the projection theory again, that means the left is dog whistling everywhere and all the time. So it's everything is upside down. They accuse everyone of what they're doing.
Jump on the same little piece of outrage and bombard the algorithm with similar videos that don't even need to be honest. Sure, it's probably better.
What do you mean they don't need to be? If it's something so tiny, are they then lying about it? What do you mean?
With Brie Larson, it's pretty simple. Oh, look, she said another dumb thing. Oh, look, she said another selfish thing. Oh, look, another unempathetic, psychotic thing.
If you're a Star Wars channel, all you do is Star Wars content, and you get, I don't know, you're watching like a 2-minute clip or 30-second trailer for the next episode, you're going to go, oh my God, what could this mean? I've seen so many videos that analyze a 20-second clip and blow it up to 20 minutes. What's wrong with that? That's fine. Do whatever you like with your analysis. That's great. Is it accurate? Is it speculative? Are you making stuff up? Are you saying, well, this could happen or that could happen? It's like, yeah, fine. It depends how accurate that analysis is.
Yeah, to address RetroDice in the chat, hate watching does not make grifting. What we do when we watch crap is, I rather would call it cringe watching. It's like watching B movies, like what Red Letter Media does in their free time.
Right, yeah.
Because you look at it and well, there are some that are well meant, where the people really try to make something worthwhile out of the little resources they had, and then there's stuff that just turns out hilarious, and then there's stuff that has big budget behind it. And it's just utter crap. And we watch it to talk about it.
Yeah, it's really a learning process. I think that's what Mike Sokolowski comes from. He's coming from that film studio or film school mentality. And he likes taking things apart and looking, why does this shot work? Why does that joke work? And when you look at B movies or short films or whatever, you're using a little resource to get a big learning experience. And that's why when we teach creative writing, you use short stories because they're fast, or use poetry because they're quick and they're emotional and they're flowery, and you could do all kinds of crazy things. And you see what works when you get too creative or too imaginative or too, like you say, you learn a technique and you go too far with it. Like, okay, that's too much. You added too much salt to your steak. You added too much water to your tea or whatever. Okay, now we know not to do that. And that's why when we watch B movies or play mediocre video games or whatever, we have a limit to our acceptance, saying, okay, I can't do this anymore. This is too much, whatever the tolerance level is, because you know better and you know there are better experiences out there. And that's how you learn. This is why my dad is so good at wine tasting, because he grew up in a family where his dad was really bad, like horrible at making wine. And the whole town knew it. So when my dad grew up, he had such an appreciation and taste for even mediocre wine, because he could tell, oh, this was made using this grape, this aged for this long. He was really accurate with the grape and like wine tests. Like we'd go to people's birthday parties and they would have all these wines, and we'd do contests of like, what is this a Merlot? Is this a Carmenere? And he would guess. He pretty much always, when he got bored after a certain year, he's like, I don't want to play anymore. So it's through the bad stuff that we go, oh, this is why it sucks. Let's try and do the opposite of that, or let's avoid this entirely and do something else. So learning is kind of that lifelong process of appreciating not only what you've already got, but why you like that thing so much. So this is fine. Critics know very well what works. You might call it prissy, you might call it nuanced or insider info, or his knowledge is so esoteric no one could possibly penetrate what he's saying. It's like, well, if you explain it in a certain way, and hopefully it's not some privileged information that only the elites have because they appreciate media more, then I think there's nothing wrong with being highly critical of things and when you explain why they don't work. So Jeremy's not like that. That's fine.
Truth to their statements, but they will just run with anything. Sometimes a narrative sticks, like with Kathleen Kennedy, Brie Larson, Rings of Power, etc.
Whoa. Rings of Power. What, where, how, and when was Rings of Power a good thing? What, where we there's so many things wrong with the show that lore, reasoning, pacing, believability, just the interpretation of, what was it, the one book or one passage from one book that they based everything around? There's a lot going on in Rings of Power to criticize.
Especially with the whole thing where Galadriel in Rings of Power didn't even need the ring to be an evil queen.
She's already amazing.
She's already, unfortunately.
She can swim the ocean. She's great. Like, okay.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they're short-lived, and they'll move on to the next narrative that they can force. Even when there are better things to watch, they still don't.
What's your point? There's lots of...
There is nothing to force.
Yeah.
It's on the open.
Yeah. This is like saying, well, why are you playing all these roguelike Sims when there's like Elden Ring to play? It's like, we've done that. We're doing something different. We want to cover something else. You could be playing Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. That's fine.
Ryan Cannell didn't watch One Piece or FNAF. He only focuses on the things he doesn't like, rather than new content that people around him are saying is actually good.
What's your point? What is your argument? He's focusing on the negative. What's your point? Do you want the critic to just say the things he likes? Can you imagine a video critic or a movie critic just going to the cinema and going, this is good, this is good, this is great, and all the bad stuff he didn't watch, or bad stuff he did watch, he didn't care to talk about. He says, yeah, I'll just watch the good stuff. The 4 stars or more. What's wrong with being negative? This is the strangest argument. We don't have all these freedoms of expression to talk about the good stuff. Can you imagine the news? A girl planted a flower. It was beautiful. Someone petted a dog. It was a beautiful Labrador Retriever. Oh, isn't that great? It's like, that's nice. I can see that walking down my street. I want to know, are there any carjackings in my neighborhood? And there are. And my local news doesn't report that. I got to go to like neighborhood.ca or all these other websites that report local news of people breaking into their houses. And they got it on camera. That's really important to know that certain parts of my neighborhood aren't safe. Or maybe I should buy a certain lock. Or maybe I should get some CRTV or something like that. That's a little more important. If someone died a block away, I really want to know that. I don't care if they died of natural causes. Whatever the case is, I want to know. So, what is his argument exactly? Because Ryan focuses on the negative. Like, yeah, that's what the news is.
And he does this solely to create outrage and fuel clicks on his channel. These guys aren't fans, they don't engage with media like fans do.
Well, how could you know that? What is that? What does it mean to engage with media? What does that even mean? Do they like it? Do they dislike it? And how is that not engaging? If you're going to make the argument that, I can see what you can't, I mean, no, we're both seeing and experiencing the same thing. I have my brain turned on. You might have rose-tinted glasses, so it's filtering a lot of stuff. What would you rather have? Everyone wearing rose-tinted glasses on the things they like and arguing nuance? Or telling you beforehand, this is going to be a crap experience as a whole, and then here's all the details? Because I'd like to know that before I spend my time and money on anything. If it's good, and I have a super critical fellow telling me something is good, I'm going to check that out. I'm really interested. When someone tells me, oh, you got to play Chrono Trigger. You got to check out Legend of Zelda. You got to check out all these classic games. I'm like, well, why? They defined the genre. This was amazing. This is the first time. Super Metroid is that good of an experience. Like, okay, I'll check it out. Fine. So there's reasons why we have classics, guys. And there's reasons why we have mediocre films. Because they don't compare to the classics.
Things they can use to build narratives and cause outrage, and Jeremy calls out this negative cycle, and his own, of course. He has been just as bad as the rest of them, even if now he's seeming to be getting more and more tired with this content. However, the others don't seem to be done, and they get defensive. Real defensive. Now, this situation with Geeks and Gamers and the rest of the Friday Night Tights group is definitely the most significant example of exposing the grift and its potential downfall that we have. However, there are more examples that have been appearing as of late. For one, a little while ago, The Quartering posted this: "Why do you hate me? Well, JK, sorta. I am curious, since the strike has brought in less woke cringe and the war videos are dividing lots of people, what topics am I missing? I am clearly missing the mark with my viewers. I know, McCuffy ads, but that's never really affected the channel before. I've been doing them for over a year. What kind of stuff do you want me to cover? What kind of stuff are you sick of and find yourself skipping? I feel kind of lost right now." And this is another pretty clear indication that this is ultimately a grift. I mean,
what? No, he's not sure what to do next because the news cycle is slow. And he's asking people, what do you want to see? Where's the grift? The coffee? He's selling coffee as his ad. Is that his own product, or is he like...
Coffee Brand Coffee is his product.
Okay, so he's not doing affiliate. He's just selling his own product.
He's mainly doing his own product.
Yeah, how is that is the coffee bad? Is it like shitty coffee that he's selling, or like? And he's saying it's good?
I say this without any hyperbole. Everything I've heard about his product, it's all been positive. So I don't see the issue.
And even if it was bad, him saying it's good is just his opinion. It's not false. If he thinks it's good, it's true. So where's selling a product is not a grift. If the marketing is false, if they're saying the coffee is going to change your life and it doesn't, then obviously that's silly. You could argue that, but there's nothing wrong with selling coffee. There's nothing wrong with selling time to watch a video he believes in, unless the argument then is they're acting. I'm like, okay, maybe that's the argument. Aren't we all acting on YouTube? Aren't we all trying to get a laugh, get your attention somehow? There is definitely some acting in all of this, but there's definitely acting in what this guy's doing and anyone's doing on YouTube. So what exactly is the grift here? He seems to be having a good time. I'm not sure what to do. I'm with my wife. I'm blah, 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 doing all these things. Not sure what to do next. You tell me. That's fine.
People disagreeing with my holy dogma ideology and making money are...
This is weird. This is like any professional going, I have an off day. I don't know what to do. I don't feel it. I'm just not up to it today for some reason. What should I do? And he's asking people. That's fine. There's no grift here. He's like, what should I talk about next? Because he does a channel where he talks about stuff. Great.
To realize that the quartering isn't the most honest and integrity-driven content creator, but this is
how? Where is he? Where's the lie? Point anywhere in this paragraph he's lying. Where is it? I'm not understanding what he's talking about here.
Admitting that he's losing his content desperately to cling on to the grift. He's using
what grift?
All sorts of tactics here, like showing a photo of him and his wife all like, hey, look at me, I'm just your average American hustler trying to do his work. Please keep watching. He's also directly asking his viewers what they want to watch because...
Okay, there is nothing wrong with asking people what they want. Especially when you make a YouTube channel where you're trying to make content for people. And I think he covers just about everything. Media, news, events, politics. It doesn't matter to him. He'll just cover it because that's what he likes to talk.
Yeah, he's technically a variety channel. He covers a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So asking people what they want to hear about is kind of fine. It's not like there's a news channel or I don't know, like a CNN primetime news where they have a docketed number of topics to cover and they know what they're going to talk about. He's like, well, I don't know what to do. Or maybe he's just not feeling up to it that day. So again, what's wrong with that? How is that a grift? How is he lying? Like, what's the lie? Where's the money? What are you talking about? What's the product?
Always been fueled by how his audience reacts to it. Outrage content has always worked for him because it fuels the insecurities, pain, and isolation that a lot of people in his audience feel.
So that's a good thing if people have these feelings and he's giving them something to alleviate those things or agreeing with their feelings. How is that bad? How is that a lie? Because now the argument is the grift is AdSense. He's taking your click, he's taking your time.
On top of that, these are critics. They watch everything, especially the crap, for you so you don't have to. Right. Because if you had to make up your own opinion about it, you would have to watch it yourself and waste tons of time, and these things would have more views, maybe even more sales.
That's the one.
Yeah, why do you think Doug Walker has the catchphrase he does for the Nostalgia Critic at the start of every fucking video? That's where that comes from.
That's the one kind of viewer. The other kind of viewer is the one who's already consumed the media and wants to see if that opinion of theirs is similar to other people's. So, there's plenty of people who watch Nerdrotic for different reasons and different contexts. So that's fine. I don't see. It's the same with this guy. People who like the left-leaning ideology. I don't even know what it is anymore. Whatever the woke ideology is, people like watching that because it affirms what they already believe. And you're attacking the thing you disagree with. Therefore, they like you. I see nothing. I see no difference. Obviously, the argument's going to be different and the results, but you're free to say whatever you like. It's not a big deal.
Not content anymore. Anti-woke content seems to have run its course.
Nope.
For a lot of people, or at the very least is in a slump right now, and we're seeing more and more creators admit to this.
Hopefully, because there's less crap coming out. Hopefully, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention, but if that's the case, then fantastic.
We also have this called Film Gob, who was never like one of the massive channels that made this type of content, but he was in the space, making videos on The Last Jedi, Disney, Brie Larson, you know the deal. He was never explicitly in the realm of crying about wokeness, but he had a lot of similarities with the anti-woke channel, and he has acknowledged those similarities before. Well, he made a video titled The End of Film Gob, and I just want to show you a little clip from this short video.
What's up everyone, it's Shaker here at Film Gob, and this will be the last Film Gob video just to tell you that I won't be making any content anymore on the Film Gob channel. And you're probably going, what? why are you doing this? Why are you stopping the channel? Well, lots of reasons. I really should have done this maybe a year ago. Mixed feelings about, you know, what I should do with the channel, and kind of limited to, you know, the kind of content you can make. So also I got tired of the whole the space that that this channel is in, and the algorithm will only push out your videos if you make a certain type of content, and I'm just like, I'm not making that kind of content anymore. I don't want to. So I thought, well, you can't really do much about it apart from start a new channel.
He basically acknowledges that he was in the space of YouTube where there were expectations for a certain type of content, and if you wanted views, then you had to jump on trends and do the content that would get clicks even if you didn't really want to. This is in general how it works on YouTube. If you want views, then make content about what's popular. But this is just another example of a person within this section of the fandom space on YouTube saying that he's tired of the grift, that he's exhausted from making this type of content, and that it's not really working anymore. Naturally, it's few channels that have stopped making content altogether, but we are in general seeing trends of anti-woke / culture war channels having diminishing returns, and most channels, rather than quitting, are getting desperate. And we have multiple examples of these desperate attempts at sparking some kind of relevancy in the midst of these diminishing returns.
Of course, if there's less content like that, you have to find something new that is just natural. On the other hand, are you saying the BreadTube channels are getting less views as well? Because, hey, that would be great.
I'm not following this logic. Is it because there's less content to talk about, or they're just not making as much content because they're tired of it? Like, what are you talking about?
Because they're losing subs and engagement like everyone does on this damn platform.
I don't understand what the argument is. Like, he says he doesn't want to do it because the algorithm isn't really that fun and he gets tired of it. Like, that's fine. That doesn't mean he's going to change his political views or whatever. He just doesn't want to do it anymore. There's lots of reasons people don't want to do things anymore.
This is also a gaslight because the whole thing of losing subs and such has been a common issue for years with YouTube. So this is nothing new.
Yeah, and of course there are always people who make some blunders, sometimes big, sometimes a couple small ones, like Shad did, which is a pity.
But ultimately, that's
like,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, or big ones like Ripper, who didn't want to listen to people who knew what they were talking about when trying to give him advice. That's just life.
Yeah, that's everyone. Everyone makes those big mistakes that just simply can't be ignored, but we power through it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, and in regards to that critics are not necessarily hate watching, because I don't know that. I think the whole term is wrong. It doesn't describe what we do. It doesn't describe what critics do. A critic's job is to watch crap, or watch everything rather, and warn you about the crap. That's what product testing is, basically. It's a form of customer support or consumer protection. When I was recommended Man in the High Castle, I thought the first season, okay, that's an interesting take. Okay, done. And then I stretched it out to 3-4 seasons of just making up crap, and it was just a train wreck that continued on and got worse and worse. And the main reason I couldn't stop watching is just the anticipation of what are they gonna fuck up next? And the whole show was carried by one guy who was later killed. They couldn't rehire him for the next season. I think the actor died even. I'm not entirely sure anymore. It's too long ago. And then there was the scene in the not supermarket, but like mall building during Christmas, and they had put I'm not kidding you. They had put a swastika onto the Christmas tree and replaced Father Christmas with Odin.
Whoa.
And it was so dumb.
That's strange.
There were swastikas everywhere. Everything was a swastika in that show.
Trees were swastikas.
Yes. The magnet band rolls that you had in the ancient computers, they had swastikas on them as their decoration cutout thing, and everything that could be a swastika was a swastika, and everything that didn't make sense that it could be a swastika was also made into a swastika. It's the Nazis were batshit insane, okay, but not like that. That was just nonsense. I just sit here and think, do you want to make the Nazis scary, or do you want to turn them into absolute clowns? Because you can't do both.
All right, here's a super chat. I must have skipped this. Sorry about that. From Threadnought, how the grit TM works.
The grift.
It says grit. I'm thinking.
No, well, that the grift, because that's it's it's typo.
I was gonna say grits, but not
Like
everyone-
how the grift TM works. Give honest criticism.
I guess I don't understand. Like, this is, again, if it's just someone's opinion, that's not a grift. They actually believe that. The same way we think the people that we cover, we believe that's what they believe. There's no reason to us to think they're lying. We think they're more intelligent, and they could be feigning their ignorance and acting that way.
Yeah.
But no, this is fine. That's their belief. That's not true or false. That's just what they think.
A grift is defined by whether your opinion about a thing is a lie.
Right.
If your opinion about a thing is true, it does not matter whether you make money on that or not. It is not a grift.
Well, there should be a financial component, because that's the definition of a grift.
Yeah, if there is a grift, but you're honest about your opinion, it's not a grift.
Right.
It's you making money by sharing your opinion.
That's why if Nerdrotic, the Quartering says this coffee is really good, and he sells it's his coffee, and it's really good, then that's just him selling coffee. There's nothing inherently wrong. You could argue the marketing is false. Like, I don't know if he has ads, and they say the best coffee ever. I was like, well, okay.
He plugs it in every video, but it's just a quick thing compared to people that do advertising
Ben
for
Shapiro.
companies. It's at least to Jeremy's credit, he does like a quick thing at the start of the video and moves on.
Right.
And I've yet to, and again, like I said earlier, it's like all I've heard of his product is positive. I've yet to hear anyone like call out his product for being, it's like he lied. No, nothing like that.
Okay.
At least.
Yeah, and saying the algorithm is helping them push their channel is not a grift. That just means they know how to use YouTube.
Yeah.
His babyface melting down to the pronouns in Starfield in what is obviously him faking outrage just to get...
No, he's not faking it.
You think this is fake?
These are genuine emotions, you psychopath.
I was just about to say, we know for a fact that this was 100% genuine.
This was it 5 or 12 hours during the stream he was playing the game for so long, and he got to this certain point he was talking to someone, and that's when he put the controller down and started talking about, like, this is well after the character creation stage. And people just...
I had reactions like that during the vile storytelling, pretense of storytelling, and character design of Bayonetta 3. I had to take breaks and just vent out my emotions. The people who watched me play may remember that.
Yeah.
And with Tears of the Kingdom, I had something similar, though it was not for that type of frustration, but just the writing being utterly dumb. Like Zelda lobotomizing herself, and we pulling the sword out of her head.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been playing the game for a while now, and I was just like, "What the hell is going on here?" For me, I just finished my 4th dungeon, but that's beside the point. For me, to go off your point.
Wait. I need clarification. So you have not played through Breath of the Wild,
not
fully yet, but you have played Tears of the Kingdom?
No, I played both. No, I did beat Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
But that's beside the point. I beat Breath of the Wild. I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom now. But to your point, yeah, the whole thing for me was both the writing and how much lore conflict there is comparing to the rest of the series.
Yeah, not just with the rest of the series, with Breath of the Wild itself.
And yeah, with Breath of the Wild on its own, you could try to argue a place in the official timeline, but Tears of the Kingdom threw everything out the window. The point is, like, that kind of reaction that we had for Tears of the Kingdom is just as genuine as what he had over the Starfield thing. It just comes out.
Fucking crap ideology into everything, every single solitary fucking thing.
And it worked. It got him attention for a little bit, but it didn't last. We also have these weird sponsorships and brand deals like The Quartering being sponsored by Antelope Hill Publishing, a company that publishes Nazi, fascist, and ultra-nationalist pieces from history, as well as promoting and publishing newer works from extremely far-right writers. I mean, it's been a common knowledge for a long time now that The Quartering is a Nazi, or at the very
All right, we're done. This is getting stupid.
Yet another person that thinks that fascism is of the right wing when it's of the left, when it's actually of the left wing.
I just
Yeah, but they have to paint Nazism as right wing because it is the socialism that lost.
Because red.
And they in Germany every 2 years or so they try either in the far left newspapers like Taz or even in bigger, more mainstream left newspapers, which write the exact same stuff as Die Zeit, the Times, a weather balloon article of, well, Stalin was actually right wing, you know, and it never catches on because it's just too stupid. Because what they try to do is to put every failed socialism into the right wing, so that socialism can remain a clean idea that just needs to be tried again.
All right. Well, I'm done.
That's all. That's the trick.
As soon as you start, like, this is like guilt by association. Well, because he had an affiliate link to a publishing house that sold other things about the Nazis, therefore The Quartering is a Nazi. We're done. We have no reason to listen to this person anymore. I'm sorry.
And the guilt association game. What are these people even trying to do by that? They associate themselves with the worst tyrants and mass murderers in history, the greatest sexists and other ists and phobes, if you will. Che Guevara, I believe, persecuted 30,000 gay people, yet they put him on a rainbow flag. He shot women and children for not agreeing with his bullshit.
All right.
Personally.
Oh boy.
Let's put him on a flag and a T-shirt and wear him as this great revolutionary that brings liberty.
We've got 0 memes. Fantastic. Good to know.
I was just gonna comment on the whole people taking the piss out of Babyface there for the whole pronouns in Starfield. Isn't there a law in Canada that could get you serious jail time if you misgender someone?
Well, there is, that in. But
for 10 years, onto the way to that, they gaslit the populace everywhere. But oh no, that's never gonna happen. Oh, by the way, we're doing it now.
Yeah, I brought that up mainly for the fact that it kind of hurts the whole. Oh, it's just laugh at it. Ha ha ha. It's it's funny that they put the pronoun stuff. It's just you're just being silly. It's not like they arrest you if you fuck this up. No. It's just being silly over it. Ha ha ha.
No one's going to try to take away your children when you don't want to castrate them because we brainwash your children with the idea that that's totally what they want. Oh, now they do. Now they jail the parents or then forcefully take the children away if the parents don't want their children castrated with complete misdiagnosis and anti-science garbage. And when was it? 2 weeks before the Berlin Wall was built, Minister of the Interior of East Germany, Erich Mielke, said in a press conference in exactly this tone, "Nobody has the intention to build a wall." That's socialism.
All right.
Every single time. Everything they say is a lie. Everything they say is a projection.
Anytime you hear someone accuse someone of a fascist or a Nazi or this or that, just stop listening, back away, just get up. It's not worth your time. And
yeah, that's fine as long as these people are not your government.
Oh, I'm not talking about, voting or anything like that. I don't want to get into that.
I'm also not talking about voting. I'm talking about having those people as your actual
Okay.
government.
I mean, if you're listening to
And
someone
sending
like
the
this,
police to arrest you for not agreeing with the government on social media like it's 1984.
Okay, jeez.
Not as a potential horrible future, but as the present we are living in right now.
Well, come to Canada, I'm sure you'll know the feeling. So, anyway,
it's what the UK does right now. It's what's happening in Germany for the past months.
I heard that this week. Yeah, that's been pretty bad.
The UK is going to possibly arrest people for retweets.
Yeah, that was funny. Anyway.
We had a woman arrested for 2 days for daring to be pissed that a gang rapist was set free without any punishment.
Anyway, this person is obviously ensconced too much into their group think, whatever you want to call the language they're using. Anytime they say stuff like that, I just immediately say, nope, we're done. He is not operating with a full set of cards. There's no reason.
To say that fascism was right wing, they drank the Kool-Aid and they are a lost cause forever.
Well, to accuse others of that, I mean, there's...
Well, they teach that they drill that into us from childhood on, so it's hard to not believe that.
Well, the premise of these
difficult
videos,
to shed that
when
lie.
they say shilling or when they say any of these grifting or whatever, it's always like, okay, I disagree with their opinions, and they're, I think, doing this for the money. I'm like, all right, that's, I think, what they mean. They're never going to provide evidence. They're never going to provide the business model that causes the money. They're never going to do any of that. They're just going to keep saying the same words, going to keep name calling. And once you go from like, oh, they're doing it because they're silly goofballs and clowns and blah, 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 to, this person's a mass murderer. I'm like, okay, no, we're done. So anyway, we have no memes, unfortunately. Maybe we'll do some later tomorrow or whenever we have another video. But
tomorrow, hopefully.
I don't know who this guy was. I don't care to know any of these guys, and I guess you guys cover them on your channels or on your.
Nope.
I don't know.
Not, at least not this guy.
Yeah, we've covered the other fellow before. That was blacklisted instantly. We hated that guy.
The Bob.
Bob. He was a ball of. A ball. It wasn't even a ball of hot air. He was just a deflated nothing of something.
He had literally nothing to say, nothing at all.
Yeah, same with Xander Hall. Same. Well, Vosh has lots to say, but I don't know if you want to listen to that. So anyway,
he's also a horse fucker.
He's also a pedo.
Anyway, okay.
Yes.
What did I just say about name calling?
That's not name calling. Those are facts.
To be in our defense,
it's not name calling when it's a fact.
Okay.
That is out in the
showed
open.
his pedo folder on stream by accident.
Oh God! All right, that's enough information for me. All right, thank you guys for the video. We'll talk to you soon. Have yourself a good evening. Good night.
Bye-bye.